You know, they can benefit also by searching out those people in their communities who can do this. And then going to them and saying, okay, look, I read this, I have that, you know, explain it to me, get deeper with me. And that will help them. And again, we empower more people. And you have a text to go through. And even if that person moves, you know you got up to chapter 5, then you start off again at chapter 4 when you get to the next person. Do a little quick review. But at least you don't have to start off at 0 anymore. And you have some tools with you already, some skills. Okay. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salam ala Mustafa wa alihi wa sahbihi wa man ittaqa. The next part of this poem, it says here, وَالثَّانِ إِدْغَامٌ بِغَيْرِ غُنَّ فِي اللَّامِ وَالرَّا ثُمَّ كَرِّرَنَّ. It says, and the next rule is, وَالثَّانِ إِدْغَامٌ وعليكم السلام بغير غنة في اللام والراء ثم كررن. Okay. والثاني إدغام بغير غنة في اللام. And this is just my sloppy writing. Okay, this is lam, lam, alif. Watch it again. Alif, lam, lam, alif. Okay? في اللام والراء. And this is just again my writing the way I do. والراء ثم كررن. كررن. مرصاد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. كيف حالكم؟ الحمد لله. لا بأس الحمد لله. كيف الأمور؟ الحمد لله. الحمد لله. بارك الله فيكم. الحمد لله. That ain't 15 minutes though. Nah, that's cool, bro. Alhamdulillah. So what does this mean? This means here, the second. Here, when we say the second, we don't mean the second rule. We mean the second type of idgham. The second type of what? Idgham. The second type. The first type of idgham was the idgham with gunna. Now this is the second type of gunna. The second type of gunna, and it is called idgham bighayri gunna, without gunna. Here we have gunna, and then we do like this. No gunna. Everybody knows that sign. No gunna. No nasality, right? There's no holding that sound from the noon in your nose. Meaning that not only is the sound of the noon completely dissipated and disappeared, but the gunna is no longer there. So that tells us something else. That tells us that the sound is going to be light. Because gunna has a heavy connotation, right? And, you know, mil, it's thick, you know, as opposed to something that's going to come afterwards. So if it's going to be different, then obviously it's going to be oppositional, different, you know. So we go without gunna, okay? بغير gunna. So fi lam, in what? In these two letters. In or regarding, with regards to the lam, okay? And the ra. A ra. Or the ra. Thumma karriranna. Some people, thumma, it says then, tikrar. Tikrar or karriranna, which means learn how to master the rolling, that ra, the ra sound, without it bumping. Arr. Without saying arr. You understand? Don't let that tongue touch your gums. Okay? Say Ar-Rahman, or like you say Rodriguez. Say Rodriguez. You see the tongue touches? Now say it without your tongue touching. Rodriguez. You see how you have to make that raw? You have to change your whole mouth up so that you can say raw without letting it touch the gums in the front. That's karriranna without, that's takrir, without letting it touch the front part of the gums. So you have to master doing that if you're going to say that raw. Okay? Arr. You see, you don't let it touch. And we spoke about that. And Ra is given a lot of attention when it comes to tajweed. It has its own chapter. Because Ra is that important. And it's something that people make mistakes at, so you have to give a lot of details to it. Okay? So, moving right along, that explains the bait. That explains the verse of poetry. Now, how are we going to apply this? That's what we do next, okay? Very simple line. It says, وَالثَّانِي إِدْغَامٌ. And what's upon you to do is to memorize this line. To memorize it, and if you have memorized it already, then all you have to do when you come to class, say, okay, now I understand what it's saying. Now, how do I do that? Now, we know there's two types of idgham. What's the first type of idgham? Idgham with gunna. What's the second type of idgham? What are the letters of idgham? No. What are the letters of idgham? Yarmaluna, right? Or yarmiluna, right? That's what it is. Yarmaluna. Those are the letters of idgham. What letters of idgham are without gunna? What letters of idgham are with lamra? What letters of idgham are with gunna? Yanmu. That's the gang yanmu. So, just make it simple, real easy. Here, this idgham is going to be in two ways. It's going to be with noon as-sakina, right? And it's going to be with tanween. We'll give you an example of each one. For the lam, here goes the lam, okay? We have min. Everybody say min. Min. Ladunna. Now watch. Here. Now you do not pronounce the noon. It's as if you wrote this. Mil. There's no sound on the noon. And you have to, because it's part of the structure of the word. Just like when you write the word, read that word. Eight. This has nothing to do with the sound. This has nothing to do, you know? It's part of the structure. It's how the word is written. Or when you write the word cough. Okay? This is the way the word is written. But these are not the sounds that, you know, produce that pronunciation. But this is what we call rasmiyan. This is the way traditionally, or the standard form of writing this word. So much so that when you see the writing of the word, you understand what that word means. However, you don't pronounce it that way. You understand? For example, we have another word, mnemonic, right? What is it, mnemonic? I don't know how I'm spelling this. It's something like this, mnemonic or something like this. You don't pronounce the M there. It's pronounced new. Or like this one in English, new or no. The KN is there, but it's not pronounced. And if you wrote it a different way, it would have a different meaning. So if you wrote new like this, it doesn't mean the same thing as this. So the writing standard is something that you have to recognize. Then when you listen to it, you understand what together they mean. Because the shadda is very important. Okay? Because if you have that shadda there, that announces to the listener, oh, that's a noon that he's pronouncing. Milladunna. If you hold it properly, milladunna. So that lets you know what that sound is. There is no gunna in that pronunciation of that first noon. In fact, the noon is completely gone. Okay? Milladunna. So that's how we practice idgham without gunna. That's the first one. Sorry for all this erasing, but it helps visuals. The next one, still dealing with the lam, is something that we know this, we hear this all the time. I'm sorry. Hudan. Say hudan.